Welcome back to Beer and Review, a show where every episode we're going to try a new beer and give you our thoughts about the beer and just kind of let you know what we think of it. I am Manderson. We're just going to go back code names this week. And this is Maviel. Maviel, tell them what we're going to try this week. What's in store for us?
This week we are trying the Newcastle Brown Ale.
Newcastle Brown Ale. Have you ever had this ale before, Trent?
Yes. I've had it once or twice at bars. Not a long time ago, actually.
Me too.
What about you?
I've only ever had it a few times. Something friends bring over to a party or something. It's never really stood out to me, but we picked it up this week and we're gonna try it and actually judge it, I guess.
Yep.
I just noticed on the bottle, this is cool. I hadn't seen before. On the top up here, it says the one and only. It's kind of cool. It's a beer that is 4.7, so like your average lager, I suppose. But this is a brown ale. As you can see, it's darker. In the bottle, it almost looks like a light root beer or cream soda, kind of. Give it an open. You're gonna pour yours into the bottle, right, Matthew?
I am. Yep, right into the glass.
Go ahead and do that.
Glug, glug, glug.
Smell is smells like a typical beer. Almost has a little bit of a syrupy smell to it. A little sweeter.
Yeah, I can see that.
All right, show them what that looked like in the pour.
Bit.
Looks like it poured all right.
Yeah, poured pretty good. Has a nice head to it. Still has some nice color. Looks kind of amberish around the edges and everything like that.
It's almost caramel colored is the way I'm thinking. Brown caramel is what it looks like to me.
Yep.
All right, give me my first try. It doesn't taste like I was expecting it to. I don't remember what it tastes like, so it definitely doesn't taste like I was expecting.
No. And I'm actually sort of getting like a nutty taste to it.
Yeah.
Sort of like an earthy type.
It's definitely, and it's a lot lighter tasting than it looks like it would taste. I was expecting it to be a little heavier. It's definitely pretty light. Not very heavy bodied. I don't know. Not what I was expecting.
Not what I was expecting, but I do enjoy it.
It's not bad.
It goes down pretty smooth.
It's got a bit of an aftertaste, but not something like an IPA though. Nothing overpowering, nothing too strong. Just a little bit of the taste sticks with you. Yeah. It almost reminds me of a Heineken. The aftertaste. Get that at all?
I haven't really had too many Heinekens, so I wouldn't be able to compare those two.
I might be thinking of a different beer, but it might be Heineken. Which would make sense if Heineken is the overall manufacturer of this beer.
Yeah.
It isn't Heineken I'm thinking of. It doesn't taste the same as Heineken, but the aftertaste itself is what I'm thinking of, which reminds me of that. So cool things about this beer is this was originally launched in 1927 by Colonel Jim Porter after 3 years of development. So he spent 3 years trying to get this beer right. And I'm sure what we're drinking now, who knows if that tastes like exactly what it did in 1927. Things change a lot. Food, FDA, FDEA, is that what they call it?
FDA.
Yeah, FDA. There you go. Those things regulate stuff, I'm sure. Wow. Another cool fact I just read for it. By the 2000s, the majority of the sales were in the United States, actually, even though it started in the UK. And it does still sell 100 million bottles annually in the UK. So it's pretty big.
Wow.
I didn't realize it was that popular.
No, No, I've seen it around, but haven't seen too many people that I've hung out with order it or be drinking it. So,
Kind of
but
like my. Oh, go ahead.
I do have to say that it has such an interesting taste that I keep on going back to it just because of the taste of it. Like, it has a quality that I can't put my finger on because of, like, it's either the nuttiness or, like, for some reason I want to say it's a little smoky too. But there's something about it that I can't put my finger on that keeps me having to go back to it.
I don't notice too much smoky, I guess. Definitely a little nutty here and there. It definitely, when you take the drink of it here, it comes in and kind of hits your tongue, and it kind of hits it and you notice, but it's pretty light and it goes down pretty easy. And like I said, it
Yeah.
hangs with you for a second afterward. Not overpowering like an IPA does or anything, nothing like that. But it does have something similar, so
Yeah.
it's not bad. It's okay. Kind of like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I've had it before, but it never really stood out to me, and it's never something I went and sought out before, and I'm kind of getting that same feeling right now too. Is it's good and it's a little different, but it doesn't like stand out and make me like, oh, this is my favorite beer. I'm going out to this bar,
Right.
going here for this. I want this beer tonight. So it doesn't really stand out to me that way.
No, I agree with
And
that.
this is marked as a brown ale, by the way. It's a very light brown ale.
Mm-hmm.
Any other thoughts about it, Mavil?
Uh, Not at this time. We'll see what the couple beers after brings to me. But at this time, like the initial taste, I enjoy it. Nothing that makes me go, wow, this is a fantastic beer. It's a good beer, but it's nothing that stands out compared to my other favorites that I like to drink.
Yeah, definitely. Last week we tried the Sam Adams Summer Ale. Definitely
Yeah.
like that a lot better than this beer. A lot better, actually. This one's not bad. It's not bad at all. I wouldn't be opposed to ever drinking it. On the back of these bottles, I've noticed that they have this thing called facts on them. I have fact
Yep.
1, and you mentioned earlier, before we started this video, Mavil, that you had fact 5.
Correct.
Um,
Yep.
Kind of interesting. You want to read off your fact? I guess I have one.
Yeah.
I'll start mine off first. It makes
Okay.
sense
Go
to
ahead.
go from 1 to 5. So fact 1, bridge. It is well known that Newcastle Brown Ale is full of flavor and remarkably smooth. Kind of agree with that, I guess. What's less known is that the bridge over the river in Tyne in Newcastle was built by the same company that constructed the Sydney Harbour Bridge in Australia. Alright, I don't see how that's related to the beer, but that's cool. The Tyne Bridge was opened in 1928 by King George V and Queen Mary and still features proudly on the Newcastle Brown Ale's label. Oh, yeah, there's a little bridge on that label there.
Oh yeah.
I
Inside the Blue Star.
Yeah, I'm not really sure why that's beer related, but I guess it's a cool fact for the city that started
Yeah.
in.
Yeah. Yeah. So my fact is fact 5. It's about a nickname. Uh, it is Newcastle Brown Ale is affectionately known as Dog by those in the know. So now everybody watching is in the know.
We're all in the know.
As in, yeah, as in I'm gonna go see a man about a dog. So that's just a way of excusing oneself from the company to either buy a drink or go to the loo, bathroom, as Americans say it.
Where's the John?
Yep. So, but there's obviously facts 2 through 4 that are missing that have not been
Maybe
around.
maybe we have some of those on the other bottles and we can read those later. And for some of
We
you,
can.
the saying "to see a man about a dog," you might have also heard it as "to see a man about a horse." That's the way I known it.
Yep.
Same phrase. So
Yeah.
cool, interesting fact. I guess we'll return after we finish a beer and see where our thoughts lie. If anything has changed. All right, man. You'll finish the full beer. You finished just a little more than that now. Where are you sitting at? What do you think of the beer now? How's it sitting for you?
It's to me, it's nothing special. It's a good alternative to like Budweiser or something like that since it's widely available. But it's nothing that I would go ranting and raving to my friends about after my first beer.
I'm kind of sitting in the same place so far. Uh, it's not standing out to me. It's okay. It's not bad. It's decent. It's definitely if you had to go to a store and they had like your local beer store was closed and you had to go to a gas station and they had this options of Bud Light, Coors Light, Budweiser, and Newcastle. I'd maybe pick up Newcastle over those.
Yep.
But it doesn't sit much higher than that to me so far. That's where I think we're in agreement on that so far.
Yep.
And while we're at it, no, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say I went through the other beers that I have, and I do have another fact on them. It's
Okay.
fact 3, which is about the recipe, but you already touched on this fact earlier in the episode, and it's just basically saying that when it started in 1925, it took 3 years for Colonel J. Porter to create the brand's distinctive recipe, and how it's won gold medals and stuff and awards for the recipe itself.
I don't think I mentioned the whole gold medals and awards. Got a dog looking out the window. Yeah, I just think I mentioned the made in 1927. Took 3 years. I didn't mention the gold medals though. I don't think anyway. That's pretty cool though. Gold
Yep.
medals. I guess maybe in 1927 it stood out a little more.
Yeah. It was probably something new and innovative at the time.
Maybe, if it took 3 years to create the recipe for, I hope it stood out at the time.
Yeah.
Uh, to me, so far, it's not really standing out. It's all right. It's not great.
hmm Definitely not a beer I could see myself drinking more than 2 or 3. Like if I'm out with friends or something, I would want to switch up. Like it would be a good starting point, and then switch to something else as the night went on.
I don't completely agree with that. I guess it could be an okay starting beer, but I think there's better beers that if you want something decent to start with than this, you can definitely pick out stuff better. I do think it's light enough that it wouldn't be hard to drink this all night if I had to. Um,
hmm
I don't think I would choose to, but
Yeah.
it does taste light enough and it's not really sitting with me bad, so I think I could if I
Yeah.
wanted to. But it wouldn't be
See,
my first
I
choice or my last choice, so
yeah, yeah, I wouldn't be able to mainly because of just the aftertaste to it. It's already starting to wear on me and everything like that. It has a pretty strong aftertaste.
Hmm.
Um, that
So I didn't think it had a strong aftertaste, but I've been getting into IPAs a lot more lately, and their aftertaste definitely stands out way more than this one does. And
yeah,
I'm about that far into my second beer now, and I actually don't even notice the aftertaste anymore. That's a good thing you mentioned that because I didn't even realize it. But now the aftertaste is almost non-existent for me, which I didn't mind the aftertaste before. It wasn't strong. Wasn't bad aftertaste. I didn't think. Yeah, I'm guessing you must not like the aftertaste much.
like it's not the worst aftertaste I've had, but it definitely is sticking with me after every sip. And like I'm that far into my second beer, and I'm still tasting it just as much as I did with the first sip that I took. So
I've noticed too. You're a little ahead of me on how far we are. Can't drink this as quick. I don't know if that's something we really should judge a beer off of, but I can't drink this as quick as some beers. it feels, I just don't feel like downing it that fast. It's not the right flavor, I
Yeah.
guess. All right, finish up this beer and maybe our next one and see where our final judgments are for this. So we'll be right back with that. All right, so we're back, and but before we get into our final thoughts about this beer over here, this Newcastle Brown Ale that we're drinking tonight, I would like to give a shout out to this app I found that I think is really cool. It's too cool not to show you guys. I think everybody that likes beer should have it in their on their phone, in their phone, whatever you want to call it. I know Mavio uses it and I use it, and we like to
Yep.
keep it up to date. It's called Untapped. You can find it on the store. It's just this app. You just list off the beers you have. You can search for anything you are drinking at that time, and just kind of keep rating your beer and keep track of what you think. And you add your friends, and they kind of show you what they think is good, and it's kind of like a little social beer drinking app. I think it's real cool. Check it out. You'll enjoy it.
It's also good. It's also good because you can, like, if you find a beer that you like on the show or want to try, or anywhere else that you hear, you can search for that, and you can actually find out where locally it is available.
Yep. I've used it a couple of times. Have had friends talking about a beer that I didn't know where to find, so I used the app and found it, and got to enjoy that beer. It's real handy. It's got a little bit of a learning curve over most apps I found, but once you figure it out, it's pretty nice. So, all right, Maville, we're almost done with this for the night. A few beers in, just testing drinkability, I suppose we could call it. What are your thoughts at this end of this episode?
I would say after 2 beers, the aftertaste to me has actually dulled down. It could have
That's what I was
just
saying.
been because I've been drinking more, or because I've gotten used to the aftertaste. But other than that, it's still not a beer that I would rave about. It's nothing special. It has a good taste to it, but it's, I would say, on par with something like a Budweiser or something in my taste.
I
So,
agree with that pretty well. I do think the more you drink it, that aftertaste, it's the thing that hits you initially, but as you drink a beer or so, it kind of goes away. You don't notice it anymore. It took you about 2 beers. I was mentioning that during my first beer, I think near the end of it, or just starting my second. The aftertaste wasn't a thing anymore. I don't even notice it anymore. So you kind of get used to it. It's not a big deal. I do agree. It's nothing awesome. It's okay. It's a decent beer. If you felt like it, like I would rate it above Budweiser Coors Light. If you're at a barely above it, really. If you're at a gas station, your options are slim, and you don't want your typical everyday Coors Light, Bud Light, your plain old beer. You could grab a Newcastle, have something a little different. But to me, I compare it more to like Heineken. Still has a little bit of that flavor to it, just browner, a little nuttier, a little more caramel to it. It's decent. It's okay. It's not bad. We're not saying it's bad. It's okay. It's just
nope.
not something I'm gonna come back to. Unless it's the only option I have.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I
I
think
would fully agree with that.
it seems like we're both kind of on that same page. So yeah, that's what we think. It's good. If this is your favorite beer, we're not the biggest fans, but we don't hate it. So congratulations to that. We're sorry if you do like it. All right, just like
Please don't hate us.
yeah, if you do, you do. That's the thing. So just like last episode, we're trying our best to improve this. We know a lot more about beer than sometimes we show ourselves. We're still new to this. We're trying to improve. If you have suggestions or comments, please leave them below. We'll look at all of them and see what we can do to improve. If you'd like a specific beer for us to try, leave it in the comments below as well, and we'll try to get to those too. We live in different parts of the country, so the availability of all the beers might be tough. Eventually, we might be able to figure out a way around that, but for now, might be a little harder. And yeah, anything, just leave it in the comments and we'll look at it. Alright, until next time, I gotta go see a man about a horse.
Cheers.
Cheers.